welcome to Anxiety Simplified podcast. And I'm Joanne Williams, and I'm here to share some powerful strategies with you that I've used with my clients as a 30-year mental health professional to lower anxiety simply. Bringing this right into your own home. We hope this can help you just a little bit be happier and less stressed. And so today's episode is going to be on solutions for social anxiety. Actually, 3 solutions we're going to offer, and the definition of how it starts, and to know it's really not your fault. So, have you noticed the amount of uncertainty around here right now in this world, in this country? Does it feel like everything has changed since last year? It's a whole new world out there since COVID-19. And I'm truly seeing an increase in anxiety and depression in my clients. You're not alone. But I do want to ask you something. What is anxiety costing you? I want you to think about this. I'm going to ask you a couple times here. Is it costing you a relationship, fun, and excitement, or that promotion maybe you were overlooked for? We humans are very social creatures. Other people are really important to us. As we all know from personal experience, human relationships can deeply affect us emotionally. They can either enrich or complicate our lives. Not surprisingly, the root of our anxiety may lie largely in our childhood. Our early childhood experience shape our later relationships, romantic and otherwise. Really, as infants, it starts right there. We develop an attachment style that reflect how we relate to our early caregivers, reflected in a secure, anxious avoidant, or anxious ambivalent, either resistant or passive style. And I don't know if you've ever really thought about your style before. I haven't really heard a lot about it, but think about it. I want you to listen for what your style is as I go through this. But those, and it really makes sense. So just kind of listen here. Those who have a responsive caregiver who meets the infant's needs tend to develop a secure attachment style, happy at their caregiver's appearance, upset at their departure, and empowered to explore the world because you feel secure about it and you can connect. Connection is huge here with your caregiver. Those who have a responsive caregiver but who fails to meet the infant's needs can develop an anxious avoidant style. Kind of indifferent to the caregiver's appearance, unreactive to their departure, detached, little exploration or connection with their caregiver. Those whose caregiver isn't reliable and doesn't come when they cry can become anxious, ambivalent. If the infant feels it is unable to influence the caregiver, then they even can become resistant, showing anger at the caregiver's appearance. If not, they can even become passive or helpless. It just doesn't help anymore. We call it learned helplessness. It doesn't matter if I cry. I can cry all day. I just have to stop and suffer. Relationships can be the cause of a great deal of anxiety. Conversely, healthy and personally satisfying relationships can work wonders in reducing anxiety because anxiety caused by many life challenges. So these can be overcome. But if you start to learn your style and understand these symptoms, you can do something about it. This can be managed and learned. Adults with secure attachments tend to be high achievers who easily and enjoy exploring and don't overly fear failure. They have good relationship skills, good communication, conflict resolution, and don't tolerate or for too long unsatisfying relationships. Secure adults tend to be partnered with other secure adults. In relationship, one secure partner is enough to stabilize a relationship. Don't have to just be one. They see sex and intimacy as a single thing, and they share intuitions and initiations and enjoyment of sex. Anxious, preoccupied adults seek high levels of intimacy and approval and can become overly dependent on their partners. They have low trust in self and others and are emotionally expressive and impulsive and are sensitive to separation. Anxious, preoccupied adults can overreact, can read too much into a situation, result in self sabotage. And they are often partnered with a dismissive, avoidant partner. I think I see these as the overthinkers with anxiety. Dismissive, avoidant adults are largely independent and seem to avoid attachment and commitment. They see themselves as self sufficient, often distancing from others and suppressing their feelings. They don't know how to deal with them. Dismissive, avoidant individuals often feel good about themselves while distrusting others. They prefer low intimacy, sex, and don't seem to enjoy physical contact. Fearful, avoidant adults desire close relationships, but they're often uncomfortable with intimacy. They tend to mistrust their partners, seeing themselves as unworthy of love. They suppress their feelings and avoid intimacy. Attachment anxiety can produce specific behaviors in the course of developing in a romantic relationship, seeking closeness, seeking comfort and support, like a safe haven, seeking security and exploring. And it's normal to feel some attachment anxiety in the course of developing a romantic relationship. We might even call it not wanting anybody to get close to your other one. How our relationships can affect our level of anxiety. Close relationships with family, friends, and romantic partners affect the onset, course, and treatment of anxiety disorders. Having no close relationships is significantly associated with generalized anxiety disorder, social anxiety, agoraphobia, and other specific phobias. Dissatisfaction with family or marital relationships is associated with generalized anxiety and some phobias. One relationship status, single, married, divorced, plays into how the quality of one's relationship with family, friends, and romantic partners affect potential anxiety disorders. For single and divorced individuals, poor relationship with family or friends is associated with generalized anxiety disorder, social phobia, and agoraphobia. Married people with anxiety disorders tend to have higher divorce rates and are more likely to be single. Adults with anxiety disorder are less likely to be married and more likely to be divorced. So anxiety can be costing you a lot. For married people, poor relationships with family and marital distress may be causally related to anxiety disorder. Wives with anxiety disorder perceive their husbands having a role, blaming them in their anxiety and vice versa. For young adults, friends can provide more emotional support than parents do. And parents can produce more conflict than their friends. And the podcast number 41, I did a podcast about relationships and affecting depression that we're seeing increase in teens. So the young adults see their friends as more important than their parents. High anxiety can cause a person to seek safety and support from others, which can strain the relationship if it's not addressed. That's why these things need to be looked at. And how you are thinking or how you mentally see the world can affect your anxiety, or your cognitive style, way of interpreting past occurrences or projecting future consequences from past experiences can provoke emotional disorders. Or perceiving a threat can cause exaggerated focus on possible signs of threat, causing anxiety. Post-traumatic stress disorder is a perfect example of that. From having this thing, it actually is a part of your brain that is perceiving a threat that may not even be there. So it really has to be worked with and managed. Negative life events can exacerbate this kind of anxiety. And many early life negative interpersonal experiences, parental separation, discord, unavailability, or trauma can predispose one to anxiety. And I'm going to put depression in there. So, really, this needs to be looked at. Look at your negative perceptions of romantic relationships that can cause anxiety. And this is one of the solutions I'm going to talk about in a minute. Your perception, what you're projecting, how you see yourself, and how our social connections can affect anxiety. Exclusion from a social group can have many adverse effects. For now and into the future, this could have started in young childhood or in high school when social bonding is really important. People seek out inclusion. We have to belong. It's an important part of our own development, psychological development. And it's important or valued to be in social groups, motivating much of our social behaviors. That's why a lot of these things start, even in really young adulthood. And any kind of exclusion from social groups can induce social anxiety, jealousy, to the extreme, not the good kind we were just talking about, that you want to stay connected, but loneliness, shyness, depression. And sometimes these are all together in concert. But social anxiety is more common in those with low self-esteem or insecurities. So that would be the treatment then. Build your self-esteem. Build feeling more secure. For adolescents, high social status and solid relations and dating relationship can protect them from social anxiety. Conversely, exclusion, aggression, troubled best friend relationship promote social anxiety. Adolescents may offer useful lessons for adults. Belonging to high status groups can boost your self-esteem and reduce loneliness. Victimization, exclusion, aggression can increase anxiety. Low quality friendships can reduce the impact of low peer acceptance. Just having one important person, I call it the cheerleader in your life, is a really important thing. And if you don't have one person that adores you and you can do no wrong, you need to find that person or find it within yourself. Positive, close relationships can reduce social anxiety, while negative friendships and interactions can increase anxiety. Positive romantic relationships can reduce social anxiety, while negative romantic relationships can increase anxiety. It's just success. You need to feel some successes to build that social confidence. I did a survey and asked some of my clients to name, and I listed some possibilities of multiple choice of what was their biggest challenges with anxiety, period, not just social anxiety, but social anxiety was the number one challenge with my clients. And so, and without tools or learning skills to bounce back better from all that we've gone through in the last year with resilience, this is going to be another very long year. And we've been socially isolated for far too long and may have lost our social edge. So it's important to build it. The definition So here's a definition of social anxiety. If you feel uncomfortable or anxious being in one or more social situations where you feel exposed to people maybe looking at you or expecting something from you, and you kind of fear you're going to say the wrong thing or feel embarrassed or unwanted by others, this can provoke social anxiety. So you avoid situations or feel the need to just endure it. That's the definition. The good news is there are skills that you really were meant to learn in your family, as we talked about earlier, that you can learn any time in your life. And I'm going to give you some tools to learn some skills that maybe you missed out on, if you dare to use them, or will you just keep those excuses going and hear them speaking louder than your will to learn some social skills and enjoy more of life and connect better with people? You could look at social anxiety as like supporting a habit, because it is a thought habit. You do it over and over and over again to get that result. And you spend so much time thinking about it to avoid feeling insecure. It can become a habit to avoid the feeling of insecurity instead of building skills to feel more secure. It's like changing any habit. The best way to do it is to replace it with a new habit. And the replacement is learning these new skills. And how does anybody learn to feel more confident? They have to practice it. They have to do it until they have success and feel more comfortable doing it and finding success. And extroverts, who are about 75% of the population, it's easy for them because they get energy from being around people. Where an introvert, they feel like energy is being sucked out of them being around people. So it is a little bit harder, but it doesn't matter. There are ways to manage this. And you could save so much of your thought energy if you can flip this habit around to feeling reassuring thoughts instead of negative, catastrophic ones. Like, I hate this. I'll die if I have to face this. Change that into, I'm going to check this out. And I promise to stay only 15 minutes and leave if this doesn't feel comfortable, if I don't find people interesting. But I'm going to have more to say about that. But I can figure this out if I choose to. So I'm going to talk about some solutions to that number one challenge of social anxiety in social situations. I'll tell you the other two, though. Sleep issues with ruminating thoughts. They're interfering with getting to sleep was number two. And number three was anxiety interfering with achieving goals was the third one. So I'm going to focus just on social anxiety today, and I will talk about the other ones later. But generally, one of the reasons that you have anxiety is because you're looking at the situation through the lens of I can't, or I'll be embarrassed, or what if this happens, and I don't know what to say. Does that really sound right? Does that sound like you? But do you care too much about what you look like, or what if you are going to be accepted or liked, and you're overthinking the situation? When that's one of the things I see. Learning confidence skills can lower that need because you feel more confident. You don't care what they think, but start to like yourself and care less about what other people are thinking, since you can only control one of these, and that's about how you think about yourself. Learn emotional skills or emotional intelligence to keep up with the many changes that are happening right now in your life or in the world. Emotions are your friends. Once you get to know them and how to use them, they're actually telling you what you need. But I think everyone can get up to speed with emotional intelligence needed with just a few skills you need to master. So I'm going to ask you again, what is anxiety costing you? Have you thought about the real cost? It may be larger than you think because your insecurities of lasting relationship or that promotion you didn't get. And without the skills to bounce back, it's going to be much harder for you. So here are the 3 skills for the solutions for social anxiety to put it under your control. There was a study that showed that 8 out of 10 people that were in this study showed that going into a new social situation or meeting felt a level of insecurity going into that meeting or new social situation. At 8 out of 10, they were checking their teeth for spinach. They were seeing if their hair was okay. So know that almost everyone going in there had a level of insecurity. So you are not alone. It's normal. Start to look at this differently. You are fine the way you are. Start to notice how you are thinking about this situation before you go into it. Check in with yourself. See how you're feeling about yourself. Do you feel like you look good? Prepare, looking forward to it? Check your attitude about the situation. Are you feeling confident, insecure before going in? If not, then get prepared. That's what anxiety is telling you to do. Make sure you look good. You feel good in your skin. Are your shoulders back? Is your head up? Or are you kind of slouching into the situation? Know that 50% of your communication is body language. All of these things are broadcasting to everyone how you're feeling without being aware of it. As you come into this meeting, are you open, interested, say hello, or are you just being quiet and staying back? All of these are the difference between insecure and secure. Have you noticed that some people, as they walk into a room, they light up the room with their energies and people are drawn to them right away? Or the opposite. Feel like people have a black cloud coming in and following them. People just move away. This is your attitude conveyed with your personal energy entering a room. This is something you can control and project confidence with practice. Start today by preparing your energy by holding your head high, shoulders back. Put a smile on your face that genuinely shows you're interested going into this meeting. It shows I'm interested in you, in what you have to say. And this can be fun to play with, to see the different reactions. You can build a plan before you go into the situation. Start to notice the kinds of thoughts that you have, ruminating. They're usually worry thoughts. You can put them behind your imaginary door and say, I'll deal with you later. Then you can start to look at some new habits of letting go of the what ifs. What if I would have said this, or ruminate, what if I would have done that? And you can stand up for yourself and learn some ways to show your confidence. And I really wish parents would teach their shy kids some ways to have some comebacks so that they don't feel like they freeze up, which starts that fear. And you can come up with some of these comebacks. Like, clearly, this is your problem, not mine. Sorry. And I thought you were better than this. So you can control some of these things. Get some help with this. And have a friend with you. That always helps you to feel a little bit more confident in the beginning. You can also start a practice of meditation, proven to lower blood pressure, create letting go skills, and calming to mindfulness, letting go of the worries instead of allowing these ruminations to just take over and keep going and take the place. Is it worth it to make these changes? Sometimes you really have to have something to make you change this. One study showed that you could be losing out on $105,000 per year with lost promotions, not being able to speak up, maybe for a rent reduction, or when you're buying a car or buying a house. So what is fear costing you? If it's getting in the way of even a relationship that you really want. So you may have more exploration that you need to do. This is something I see consistently with my clients. They really just focus more on the negative instead of the positive, and not on what they want more of in a spouse, and more of I don't like, or I don't like it when he does this. What do you want? What do you like? You have to think clearly about what it is that you do want, what kind of job you are looking for. Your focus needs to be on the goal to get there. It's like driving a car backwards, but expecting it to take you where you want to go, and then being mad at yourself for not getting there. Maybe you haven't taken the time to truly think this through. So there is much more that you can do. And I would love to help you more with this. Listen to other podcasts, cut your losses. Find ways to challenge those negative, unhelpful thoughts that trigger and fuel this social anxiety, replacing them with focused, reassuring thoughts. Learn how to safely face social situations with learned confidence over your self doubts. And remember to practice these skills we talked about today. And you can contact us at anxietysimplified.net to find out more how to get maybe an emotional support animal or a certified psychiatric service dog if that would help you to go into situations. So bye for now. Thank you for listening. We would really appreciate it if you showed your support by rating, reviewing, and subscribing. So please share this with somebody who think it might help in some small way.